As for those teams which are on verge of promotion, like Strathmore, the others in the championship, you know, it's when you just say we just call it off, we cancel everything. It's painful. Looking at some teams were on a very good run of form.
Yeah, I think Strathmore's undefeated. They haven't lost a single match. I mean, they definitely deserve to be in the Kenya Cup. I mean, come on. But there's different countries that have done different things. I mean, there's club level in South Africa hasn't started yet because it's the Southern Hemisphere, so that's fortunate. But if you look at the Northern Hemisphere, in England, for example, Newcastle Falcons have been promoted from the Championship to Aviva Premiership, even though they haven't played playoffs, because of how well they did. So I think it's interesting. I think it's tough. I feel bad for Strathmore, given the circumstances. I still think top two teams need to be promoted, bottom two teams need to be relegated, if you know what I mean. Because nothing against any of the teams, but if you look at the rugby, to lose most of your matches and then in the other league to win everything, because that's what Strathmore did. They won everything. Surely that calls for them to be pushed up, if you know what I mean. So yeah, they're a good team. I look forward to playing against them, you know. Ish.
I looked at your results before this thing came to be suspended on March. You're on a very good form. Very good form.
Thank you.
Many people will maybe arguably say that if we were to go ahead for the playoffs, possibly you could have been the team which challenged for this thing.
Inshallah. Look, we take every match as it comes, one match at a time. The guys worked hard. They set a goal. They wanted to go all the way. So you can't deny them, take that away from them, you know. To say that we were clear favourites, I don't think so. I think on any day, any team can win. If you look at the top three teams, Cabras beats KCB, we beat Cabras, KCB beats us. You know, it's a dogfight. So on any given day, any team can take it. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, if we get back to action soon, then we can dog it out and fight it out and see what happens.
How is it difficult that this time now, as a coach now, you are monitoring your players as they work from home?
Yeah.
In terms of giving them instructions on training and how they conduct themselves while at home, is it a difficult process?
It's extremely hard, communication-wise. So we've been sending the guys programs for them to do at home, and we've varied some programs for guys that have access to gym equipment, and then some programs for guys that don't have access to gym equipment. However, monitoring the guys in terms of RPEs, workloads, acute and chronic workloads, it's a lot harder because you don't know the session durations, you don't know where they're training, what the variables are. So it's tough. It's not easy. Ideally, if we could video call every single player, but then we have to call 100 players and check on them, you know. So what we do is we'll constantly communicate via WhatsApp with the players, see how they're doing, see how they're holding up. More importantly though, our focus as coaches has not really been their training. Our focus has been where they are from a mental perspective, how they're doing, how their families are. Because I mean, come on, it's not all rugby, you know, there's more to life than that, and there's more to our players than that. So what we do is we do try and communicate with them. At least every second day, every player will receive a message from one of the coaches, just to see how they're doing, how their family's doing, how they've been training, if they've been training, you know, because it's a fine line between saying carry on training every single day right through till when we resume the playoffs, if we resume the playoffs, because then you've got fatigue, and it's a fine line between them resting entirely and not having any training in before we reach playoffs. So for us, it's more about making sure they're in a good headspace. They don't have to worry. You know, our coach, things are very tough. We've set up a food drive amongst the players, so that anyone that's struggling, you know, they can just call the captain and say, "Hey, Cap, we're struggling." You know, you get what I mean. So that's been our main concern right now. I mean, in times of need like this, rugby is not really a priority. You know, the person is. So, yeah.
Is it because of those difficulties or challenges you are saying that you might be convinced to join the side which is maybe calling for this thing to? Because if we cannot play and still we have other challenges which we're still facing, just call it off the league and wait to resume for another season.
Look, there's two ways to look at it. Like I told you before, there's no right or wrong answer. You can only make a decision based on the information you have. The longer this corona or COVID virus carries on, I think the less chance there is realistically of resuming the league. Because let's say we resume August, September. There's no sevens, or they force the sevens in, and we've got sevens and we've got the league. So all of a sudden now the COVID or the coronavirus is affecting 2 seasons instead of just 1. So you got to look at the financial implications of the training, the extra training, getting guys ready, because obviously you're going to have to relook at your nutritional plans as well to get them ready in the short period for playoffs. So you've got that you need to look at. On the other hand, it would be good to lift the trophy. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I think closure is another bit important thing. To have closure, it needs to be done, if that makes sense. Leaving something unfinished, you know, the Zeigarnik effect is going to bother everybody. So I don't know if the league decides to say, you know what, just the top 4 teams play semis and finals, or they say, let's do the full knockouts, but let's do a midweek match. I don't know. There's many options to be considered. So I can't put my hat in any side. I think it all depends. If they tell us at the end of this month, all right, let's play rugby, then hell, come on, let's do this, you know. But if they tell us at the end of August or at the end of July, let's play rugby, then I'm going to be asking some questions, because then I need to look at my players as well and think of what's best for them in the long run.
Looking at the government's directive, the one which was given last Saturday for another 21 days of lockdown in major cities like Nairobi and Mombasa and other counties, it means that there will be no rugby up to until May 21st, if I'm not wrong. So how soon, from your perspective, because you don't want to have that workload, because if they say we push it to until October, there's a new season, there's still the 7th circuit which has not been played, still to be played, there's the playoffs, you know. Maybe in your decision, how soon would you wish the league could resume? From May 21st,
from May,
after the days given for the lockdown by the government.
You know what, if the government says Kenya Cup and ESS submit your squads of, let's say, 25 players, and there are safety protocols and the training is allowed during the lockdown, great. Then we can play on the 21st of May. You know what I mean? If they can say, submit a squad of 25 players and train behind closed doors, you know, not open to the public, have certain measures in place, you know, sanitize every player on arrival, make sure every piece of equipment is sanitized. Then we can play the 21st of May, if you know what I mean. But realistically, after the 21st of May, it's going to take at least 4 weeks minimum to get the guys ready. And that's without assessments and standardized testing. 21st of May plus 4 weeks. So that's going to put you into week 3 of June, then 3 weeks of playoffs. So that's going to put you mid-July, you'll play your final, Kenya Cup final. Then you need to rest. But then you've got the 7th circuit, which is too good for Kenya rugby to throw away. You understand? From a financial perspective and from a development perspective, Kenya's Sevens rugby is all about individual skills development. It's all about core skills development. So if you throw that away, you take a huge development aspect out of these away from these rugby players. And then the financial benefits of it as well for clubs individually and for the union as well. So it's a difficult decision to make, but it's really, really hard. And I don't want to be the man that makes that decision.
I look at some clubs which I talked with them earlier, or last week. Last week I talked with some few players from different clubs, and they were of the idea that if this thing is suspended, then not finished the season. Some players have been contracted for maybe a season by some clubs. It still brings the issues of contracts and stuff. Is it something that is maybe, if we get it suspended right now, you'll get in trouble with your squad players?
Yes and no. I'm sure if you speak to my players, they'll tell you that we were very straightforward with each other. You know, a spade is a spade. So for us, when we sat down at the beginning of the season, we said that we've got a 2-year plan to be the best, to build a dynasty. And everyone committed, and they said they're in. So for us, it's about keeping our word to each other and holding each other accountable. We told the guys we're not going to fight with other clubs. The club offers them more money, go. But we're building something and we're developing someone. So we look after them and we help them, and all we want is for them to stick together. 2 seasons is not that long to fight for something. So we're hoping that the bond we've built so far, is enough to keep everyone on board. But yes, the contracts do pose an issue. I think, again, unusual circumstances calls for unusual decisions. And I think if there's a directive where there's back-to-back seasons, that KRU should maybe consider that there is no transfer window, maybe, I don't know, or no sneaky signing of other clubs' players, because we don't have the time to go around running to players. Are you okay? Do you need this? Do you need that? What can I do to? How much money? More money do you need? Because, I mean, at the moment we're in an unusual circumstance. So right now, I think the main goal is to keep the guys together until we achieve our goal, and hopefully thereafter build a dynasty, not just a win, but build a club that people fear and respect. But yeah, a legacy is what we want to build as a club.
I think it was the best season for teams like Abras, Homeboys, and the other teams which are from number 1 to 6 on the playoffs to challenge for it. So I think you should be on a direction that really calls for, let's get in there. Once things are good, let's go there and challenge for the trophy.
Look, we're always challenging for the trophy. Don't get me wrong.
Not for this season.
Even this season, we've been challenging for this trophy. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, we've been fighting for it, and we want it. This whole business has thrown us a curveball. Like I said, if they tell us tomorrow, let's train, let's play, then yes, let's go for it. I think it's an open race. Oilers are looking extremely good, especially with their youngsters. Coach Gibber's been doing well. Coach Mitch with Impala have been doing great. They've really picked it up. KCB have been doing good. Cabras, you know, I mean, they kind of speak for themselves with what they've done so far this season. So I think really it is an open race for everybody. Mwamba has been doing well. I mean, I saw Mwamba against Nondis, their last league match. I mean, wow, that was great rugby to watch. So like I said earlier, any given day, any team can take it. It's all about which team turns up on the day. I mean, we can slip up against Oilers, and that's it, gone. Then again, Cabras might slip up against Impala, you know, or Wamba, whoever makes it to the semis. and then their chances are gone. So it's hard to call. It's really hard to call. I'm sure there's some statistician or some bookkeeper that's already worked out the odds of everything. But I mean, you can't say it till it's on the day. I mean, things happen.
I've seen in some leagues in Europe, away from rugby, managers, associations for managers, they are coming up with ways in which, safer ways in which they can see, the sports getting back into action, maybe through developing some safer ways in which, if they have the players, how they can contain them and maybe finish the leagues, because the issue is to finish the leagues. Yeah.
Look, the thing is, training behind closed doors is one thing, but at the moment, again, it's all about the time in which the question is asked. Now, it can't be done, and the reason for that is because the virus is still spreading. It's still on the rise in Kenya. So you can't train rugby without contact. Rugby is a contact sport. So social distancing, gone. You understand what I mean? Then obviously we spoke, I mean, we've already, as a club, we've bought sanitizing equipment, things like that, to clean all our equipment. We've bought sponges so that, when players rock up to training, they would just squeeze a sponge with disinfectant and then they can go. So we have bought these things. However, at the moment, you've got guys traveling from all over Nairobi on matatus, on bodabodas, public transport, that's exposed. There's an increased risk. Now, let me ask you, are you willing to risk your players? Exactly. Maybe when the curve drops, then we can start looking at those kind of things. But right now, my players' health and safety comes first. I'm not willing to ask a player to travel from Tika on public transport to come to training if I'm not willing to do it, because I'm not going to do it. Let's be frank. There's a virus out. It has killed people, and even those it hasn't killed, it's really done damage to them. I'm not willing to do that. Yeah, I'm not willing, and if I'm not willing to do it, I can't ask my players to do it. I can't ask them. I can't ask a Jan Remke and a Bob Mohati to travel all the way from Tika on a Matatu to come and train, and then travel all the way back when they're tired. It's raining, the weather's changing, everyone's immune system is already down because of the changing seasons, and now you want to ask them to go and travel. You understand what I mean? I'm not willing to risk my players, so we'd rather send them their programs. They do it. As a coach, we know our players, we know which guys are training, and we know which guys are not. Which guys are saying they're training. But I mean, we've got guys sending video clips. We've got a nice thing going where guys are sending me video clips and sending Simon video clips of them training. Abel Matanda has been doing heel sprints. Lennon Lugaisi's been training. These guys have been sending video clips showing, hey, Chesko, we're training, which is great. And then you've got guys, obviously, that says, yes, coach, we're training, but when they come back, we'll see. But yeah, the risk factor at the moment is not worth it. Maybe a month or two later, we can relook at it, and maybe the risk factor changes, and then we'll go all out. Either way, whatever we do, I guarantee you we'll go 100%. As a collective, we're pushing for everything. Yeah, we're pushing for Enterprise, we're pushing for ESS, we're pushing for Mwamba, we're pushing for Kenya Cup, we're pushing for the 7th Circuit. We're pushing for everything, Inshallah, things fall into place for the new season, and we can literally clean house and fill up our trophy cabinet, inshallah. That's always the goal. You never enter competition with, we're not going to win. Yeah, you always enter every match, every competition, every training session as a fight. We're going in there and we're going to go down swinging if we go down, but we're going there for everything, if that makes sense. That's just the personality of the club, and my personality, the players' personality, will always swing.
We wish you the best.
Santi.
We wish you the best. Just pray everything comes to normal.
Yeah.
We resume our
yeah, the sooner we can return to normal, the better. Again, from a player's perspective, from a training perspective, the sooner the better. But again, you got to look at public safety, and you got to look at my player safety. And yeah, again, we just have to pray for everybody, not just the rugby community. Everybody's struggling. Businesses are struggling. Got to thank the doctors for risking their lives to try and fight this. So we got to keep praying. You know what I mean? Keep praying. Be thankful for the small things we have. And then we got to hope that the money comes into play, because with the way everybody's struggling, finding sponsors is going to be hard, huh? But yeah, now our sponsors also looked well after us, with Homeboys looking after us. USN has been looking after us very well. So obviously we need to thank them, show them how appreciative we are. Hopefully, with how well we've done so far, it shows that they can stick with us. And we'll try and make them famous. Sawa sawa.
Yeah.